Hello and welcome to Game Patrol, my not so brand new podcast now, just a little bit less brand new. I'm your host, Landon Plumley, and this is episode 2. That is right, we made it to a second week. How crazy is that we actually, this isn't just some one-off thing. Very excited to be back, and I am very, very happy that we had an actual launch on Spotify. It launched way quicker than I thought it would. Very, very excited about that. And so with that, just a little bit of like announcement wise about what's going on. It looks like I will now be having this podcast on Thursdays, not Fridays like I originally said, just because I can immediately get it going. And it looks like, from what I understand, the Spotify feed updates daily. And so, it's going to be kind of iffy on this one because I'm currently recording this at almost 2 a.m. on Thursday, technically, because it's been an insanely crazy week. I have not had very much free time. I went up to Michigan over the weekend, had a great time, just a little bit of a getaway. My Christmas break has been very little of a break from college land, and so I've been working full time, so I just don't have a whole lot of free time. So that was my one weekend getaway. And since then I've been working every day, and so it's, yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of free time. It's been kind of crazy, so yeah, that's why we're doing this right now. So excuse me if I look a little bit tired, but I love talking about video games, so hopefully that won't come through. And especially if you're listening on Spotify, I try to keep my voice better. I didn't get myself a drink this time, so we'll hope that my voice holds out. Although if you know me personally, you know that I never shut up, so I think my voice has just become accustomed to me talking for this long. And so, but yeah, hoping on Thursdays, hoping to get this going. I will immediately export this onto Spotify and all of that once I get done recording, and so it should be up for Thursday. Again, just as I get the hang of it, we'll get a more solid, concrete time frame, but it's looking that will be every Thursday will be a new episode of the podcast. And so first show up on Spotify and shortly after on YouTube. But yeah, let me know any sort of critiques whatsoever, positive, negative feedback, all the kind of feedback you've got. Let me know down in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, go head over to my YouTube channel. It is Panamaster, and so it's the one with Game Patrol on it. So maybe look up Panamaster Game Patrol. I don't know, do whatever. But yeah, leave some comments, or you know, that's it. I don't think Spotify gives a good way for you to like contact the person. I know I'm supposed to supply an email to when I submitted the podcast, but I think that's for Spotify. As far as I know, there's no way you can actually look that up. But yeah, so anyway, getting into this week's podcast. We're gaining a little bit of momentum now, getting into the year. We've got some gaming news now. It's not quite as dead as it was last week, but we're still not really in the nick of things. So this is a little bit of a slower episode, another one, which is good because we're building some momentum getting into things. And so jumping into the games coming this week, like I said last week, there's nothing really coming out yet. It's the 17th where we will get Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I think I heard somebody say it a while back when I was looking up the game, but I already forget how he pronounced it. And then the Tokyo Mirage Echo Sessions Encore, or hashtag FE Encore. Is that what it's called? You know, I'm spitballing these right now, so I think I did pretty well. But yeah, those don't come out to the 17th, and those are really the big games coming out. And honestly, there's really nothing coming out right now. People are celebrating the holidays and getting back into things, and so there's nothing really releasing these first couple weeks of January for good reason. And so I'm not surprised, but we'll get into it. We'll get into the nitty gritty, and then we'll have games coming out all the time, you know. But nothing really coming out this week. And so let's head into the gaming news. Like I said, we've got some more gaming news, so much that I had to kind of pick and choose what I wanted to talk about, because obviously I cannot talk about every single piece of gaming news that's happened over the week. And so I just sort of, I took some personal bias, and then I also took about things that I think are personally important to the gaming industry, and so that's kind of how I've done this. And I've picked up my top 5 gaming news of the week. I guess I shouldn't say top. Well, it is my top 5, but these aren't in any particular order. In fact, they're actually it's in order from newest to oldest. So this first one's the most recent, but we just learned, and this is because I'm a Resident Evil fan, that hold on, I'll double check that the person is that I'm thinking that it is. So Resident Evil 3 producers Peter Fabiano and Masao Kawada had an interview with Famitsu and said that that the work on the second remake is quote about 90% completed. And so essentially they went on to say that there will be no delay. So we're not going to be worried about a delay with Resident Evil 3, which is something that probably needs to be said because it is releasing so close to Resident Evil 2. In terms of it being rushed, I think that was a worry. I think I said that last week, and that I'm a little worried about Resident Evil 3 being rushed just because it is coming out so quickly after 2, that maybe with the success of 2, Capcom pressured the development team to get this out quicker. And so this seems to like confirm that that's not the case. But you know, it could have been very crunch time, that maybe it is about 90% complete and you know there will be no delays, but that's because they were really pushing it for the last year and you know that sort of thing. But again, I think Capcom's been doing a great job lately, and I think anytime you have good games, especially a slew of good games, it's usually because the company is listening to the developers more. When you look at games like God of War, The Walking Dead, just things like that, these genre-defining, generation-defining games, usually what happened is the creative team was given freedom to do what they wanted, and then you see these games that are very heavily influenced by like the corporate, and they fail. And so you know, I think that, you know, Resident Evil 2, Monster Hunter World, Devil May Cry 5, they were all passion projects. They were all things that the developers worked really hard on. I mean, Resident Evil 2, you had some of the original development team come back. Monster Hunter World was this like huge new take on Monster Hunter. I mean, yeah, it was a big deal. Devil May Cry 5 was this fan favorite game that finally exists, and my god. So you know, I think that Capcom is giving their developers more creative liberties based on what we're seeing. I mean, based on the little that we do know. I personally have not heard anything about it. I haven't done any digging myself to see if there's anything more concrete about what it's like working at Capcom and like the sort of environment that gives. But if I had to guess just based off of game quality and things in the games, I would say that they're getting a lot more creative liberty, and it does yield better results. I mean, that's honestly almost a statistic fact at this point. In the past few years especially, we're seeing very heavy corporate influence, resulting in things like the bankruptcy and fall of Telltale, and then also like things like Anthem and just games that were, or like, you know, Star Wars video games in general for the past few years. But now we're seeing like a switch. We're seeing, you know, game developers, game studios intentionally avoiding this, and we're seeing positive results. And that's why I'm so excited for next generation, because I think that seeing that having that knowledge is going to make the game so much better, whether they're AAA games or smaller games, anything like that. I think corporate video game studios are going to be very hands-off in this next generation and let the game developers do what they want to do. And so I'm hoping, that's my hope. But it seems like we're heading in that direction, and I am so excited that we are, because it's a really, really good thing. But anyway, I went a little off track there, but it was still sort of in the same vein. But no delay for Resident Evil 3, which is fantastic because it is one of my most anticipated games and I cannot wait to dive in. So next up, I was just talking about the existence of a Switch Pro last week. Well, now we're getting reports that there will be a new Switch model in 2020, likely to be the Switch Pro. And so, according to sources from a supply chain company, there's a Taiwanese website that reports a new Switch model will enter mass production in this first quarter for a mid-2020 release. So, there's also analyst predictions that a Switch Pro model will be released later this year. And just, you've got multiple little rumors kind of just collaborating together to make this big report about, Switch Pro's a thing. So obviously you have different, lots of different things saying stuff. I was having a conversation with some people on Twitter, which I realized they never responded to me. So I don't know if I won that argument or what, but someone brought up an article. It was a report that apparently inside sources at Nintendo said that there is no Switch Pro in development. This was last April when this report was released, that there's no Switch port in development. They have no plans to make anything like that. And so I responded to that person. I was like, this was in April. Since then, just based off of consumer interest, they could have started development of a Switch Pro, which could make sense. It's a little rushed, but it's definitely doable. Also, there are just as many reports confirming the Switch Pro versus not confirming it. And then also the fact that this report came out that they were not making a Switch Pro, and then Nintendo never released an official statement confirming it, begs the question if it is reliable. And so you have these people saying, I have a source that says that it is not in development. And so if the way that the report sounded, it just sounded like they were adamantly against making a Switch Pro, that they were just into these incremental changes. They were never going to do a thing like that. It seems like the way it sounded was that they were just very against making a Switch Pro, and that sounds like something, Nintendo said things like that before publicly, but we're not gonna do this, and that's just the thing that companies do. And the fact that Nintendo never openly said that, we just get reports, makes me think that that's not true. And so, we keep getting these things. Like I said, I think it's a great thing. I would love to be able to run Witcher 3 at 1080, 60 FPS on my Switch. That would be incredible. I will gladly trade in my Switch to get this new Switch Pro. And, that's one of the great things about GameStop. So they're the one place that still does that. So, let's keep giving GameStop money, because dang it, that's video game history. It's dying away because of the internet. Yeah, that sucks, but so yeah, there's more reports now. Interesting that it says mid 2020. I guess it makes sense, because then they're still avoiding the gaming rush with the next gen, and then it's I don't know, I doubt they would put it on sale, for Black Friday or things like that, but maybe some special deals with it or something like that to maybe entice people into it. It's been on the market for a few months. I don't know, but it's interesting about the mid 2020 instead of fall 2020. But I'm looking at this. What? Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the full article, and there was an analyst speaking to GameIndustry.biz who said, "There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Nintendo will launch a Switch Pro in 2020. More specifically, I predict 4K support, bigger cartridge sizes, and of course, beefed up components." 4K support on the Switch? That's bonkers. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. There's no way that the Switch is going to have 4K support. when some of its games can't even run 1080 now. No way, no way, no way. That is way too big of a jump, and it'll jack up the price. And the thing about the Switch is that it is very cheap, and you can play these awesome games on the go and everything like that. And so I for sure think that there will be a beefed up CPU. Like, yeah, okay, Switch Pro, I think it's very likely. Well, I guess when you think about it, the Switch is still at 300 unless they discount the Switch. The next logical step is to have this Switch Pro at 400. But then again, when you think value wise, like compared to the PS4 Pro, you can take the Switch on the go, and so that's kind of where you're getting the increase in value to justify not having 4K. Or they could make it 350. I could see them discounting the Switch to 250. That'd be something. The regular Switch to 250 and making the Switch Pro 350. That'd be interesting. I don't know. It is interesting. I didn't think about that, about how the pricing would work, because we're getting into, if you raise the price of the Switch for the Switch Pro, it's rivaling these other consoles, and then so where do you see that in specs? Like, does it compare? That's interesting. I didn't think about that. I just want to know what's in this Switch Pro. I think Nintendo has never cared that much about graphical fidelity. They just work really well with their developers to make the games run well on the hardware. For instance, Breath of the Wild is a beautiful game, but also with the Switch, it's not like the Switch has a beefcake graphics card. It's just because it's well optimized. In the same way with the PS4 Pro. Personally, I think that PlayStation's exclusives like God of War and Spider-Man are the best graphically looking games on the market, period. Versus a lot of the games on the Xbox One X. Like, I can tell, like, I have had visually stunning experiences with the PlayStation 4 Pro more than I've had it with the Xbox One X, because their exclusives are so well optimized for the systems. And that's something I wish the Xbox did a little bit better. I think that PlayStation just kills it in terms of optimization. Or at least the games, like the first party studios, kill it with their games in optimizing them for the hardware. And that's something that Nintendo does really well too, that I personally think the Xbox is lacking on when compared to the other two. And so, I don't know. But I would love a Switch Pro. My wallet wouldn't, but I would. It'd be a nice thing, maybe to launch around E3. We all know that Nintendo does not shy away from weird release dates. I mean, they came out with Super Mario Maker, what? Was that before or after E3? I think it was after. Yeah. They have a tendency to do that, release stuff around E3. That's just kind of their thing. But yeah. So next up, the biggest news of the entire week, the entire month, year, decade, it's over. PlayStation revealed the PS5 logo. Oh my god. It's insane, guys. It is really insane. I would put it up on with the video if you're watching on YouTube, but frankly, I just don't want to edit that and then have to deal with it. That's just too much time. Because it is literally just, I mean, actually, I want to pull up the PS4 logo. I shouldn't do that because I'm going to need that later. Let's use this tab. I want to pull up the PS4 logo. Shoot. I don't have the internet. Oh, wait, do I have a phone? Oh, jeez. But literally, the PS4 logo and the PS5 logo is just based off of pure... Yeah, this is the exact same. It is literally... The PS4 and the PS5 logo are the exact same, with the exception of a photoshopped 5 instead of a 4. Yeah. It's the same font. No design changes. It's black. So people are wondering if the box art's going to go back to black like with the PlayStation 3. Which personally, I love black things. Like, I think black is such a cool color. You know, you if you get like that matte black finish, that'd be so cool. But I like the sort of duality of like the Xbox green, or not even duality, but the triality, whatever, of green Xbox, blue PlayStation, red Nintendo. I just think it works well. And so if they went back to black, kind of mess it up, because you know, you got the black, that's for the 4K Blu-rays now, you know, it's not for my PlayStation 5 discs, which, you know, discs are already on the down anyway. So I personally love physical copies. I will easily prefer physical to digital, but it's just the way the world works now. I own a lot of digital games. I love having a physical copy. I think the art in like cover art is a big deal. I love cover art and different things like that. Steelbooks, all of that sort of thing. I'm a big fan of those, but the industry is not. So, but yeah, I think I would prefer them to stay with the blue rather than the black. Although I really, really would like, I mean, I'm torn, man, because I love the black color, but aesthetically, I think they need to keep with the blue. This is a ridiculous debate. It really is. So anyway, but next up on the news, the Xbox Series X processor was revealed, which isn't really a huge deal, but it's interesting because it's actually engraved on the processor 8K and then Project Scarlet. So again, they're really pushing the 8K here, which like I said, I'm no expert, like I said last week, but I just think this is going to be an Xbox One X situation, that the 8K capabilities of the Series X are going to be very minuscule, or they will be 30 FPS, occasionally 60 FPS, which I mean is a big deal, but they're pushing 8K so much, and I guess, I mean, it's future proofing the console. This thing's going to be able to run good things forever, but it's like 8K TVs are just now becoming a thing, and it's going to be years before it becomes mainstream, just because they're so gosh dang expensive. Like, I was trying to think, like, I'm like, there's all this 8K stuff coming out now. You have these 8K consoles, and now we have 8K TVs and all of that, and so it's like, man, should I be saving up for an 8K TV? I mean, no, not really. There's very little 8K content. Now, if Xbox came out the gate and been like, Halo Infinite's running in 8K on Series X, Jesus, I'll have to get an 8K, and just hope to God that some company comes out with an affordable 8K TV before this point, because I'm already shelling out probably $2,000 on consoles this fall. I don't need to shove out another freaking $10,000 on a TV, because Jesus, the 8K TVs are expensive. And so I bought my 4K TV about, let's see here, I bought a 4K TV without HDR a few months after they started shipping 4K Blu-rays, and I bought it. It was a 55 inch, because I have a different one now. That one's the one that I have currently in my home, my family uses. But it was a 55 inch 4K TV without HDR at $600, I believe was the price. And the current TV that I use at my dorm, I used to like play games, all that's like my main TV, is a 43 inch Philips that is 4K HDR. I bought that one, I believe, a year later. Yeah, it was the fall of 2017. And that was at $400. And it was I don't think it was a Black Friday deal. It was on sale, but I remember I put it in layaway. I don't think it was a Black Friday deal, but I did get a deal for it. But yeah, that one was $400. I just want it to be under $1,000. I do not want to pay more than $1,000 for an 8K TV. I would understand paying more, but also, you know, the prices will go down. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to spend this year, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. And so if we get these 8K capabilities and everything, my God, like, will Halo look beautiful? Absolutely, but will my wallet? No, it won't. It won't. I'm already doing enough. I don't need that. I don't need that in my life. I need the money for not TVs. I mean, again, it's been 2 years since I bought this TV, and now I feel like it's irrelevant. And it's like, jeez. I can't get a super big TV because I do live in dorms, and so there are limits to what I can do. I just, you know, like, I don't want to get this huge TV. I do eventually, but not until I, like, have my own place, you know? So it's like, yeah. So I kind of hope that the consoles stay away from 8K for now, if that's just a thing, but it sounds like they're not. I don't know. It's something very up in the air that I don't know about. I really don't. But yeah. So anyway, getting into the next topic, the last topic, we got some leaked photos from a dude who's probably fired, but I've also heard some people say that this was some PR stunt. I don't know, but some leaked photos of a guy cleaning a PlayStation 5 dev kit, and so we've also gotten a look at the PlayStation 5 controller, which seems to be exactly like the PlayStation 4 controller, but with more chunk. I mean, it's very similar. Honestly, you probably have to do a side-by-side to really tell a good difference. For me, it just seems like the touchpad is wider, like, or not, I mean, not wider, but larger per se. It seems a little bulkier, but otherwise, I mean, you can't take a look at the adaptive triggers or anything like that. You can't see the triggers, but just based off of what we can see on the leaked pics, it seems to confirm what we've seen, like, or what we've been told, that, you know, with the patents and all that it's very similar, and no one's really complaining about that. And so that's about it. But yeah, PlayStation 5 controller, we got a first look, maybe, sort of. So yeah, very similar. So yeah. Also, we couldn't tell if there were back triggers because, you know, couldn't see the back. But anyway, going in, I'm really wishing I had that drink now. Going into our main topic, this was something, originally I was going to go and do like a 2019 in review because I just didn't know what to talk about. But I was talking with my nephew earlier tonight about, he has gotten his first gaming PC, which, like, I'm kind of proud of him because, you know, I was born into the PC master race, and then I switched over to console. But I'm building a PC, so I haven't necessarily abandoned my PC brethren. I occasionally play it with the laptop. It's just my old gaming PC is just kind of useless now. So I just am in the process of building a PC, but it's very low on my priorities list right now. But I have parts that have just been sitting there that I really need to finish. But he bought a pre-built gaming PC, and so he was asking me to get him some games for it. Like, he wants Grand Theft Auto 5 and Rainbow Six Siege, and so I was like, okay. And so I'm gonna send him those tomorrow because fortunately I get paid technically today, and so I guess I'm technically sending them today. You know, it's early in the morning, but I was thinking, I was like, I kind of want to throw in a game, you know, just like a surprise, as like a, hey, you know, have this one too, because, you know, get him something really good, you know, one of my favorite games. And I was like, what should I give him? You know, like, he's got his own taste and everything, but it's like, what's something that, like, everyone should love, you know? Like, what's a game that, like, defined my childhood and, like, defined me getting into gaming? Because he is he 14 now? Wait. He was born in 2005, right? Yes. So he would be 14. Wow. My God. I thought he was 13. I was just thinking off the top of my head, but so yeah, he's 14 years old, so kind of just, you know, getting into his own, you know, getting his own life, his own interests, that sort of thing. But I wanted to find a game. I still haven't completely decided yet, though I'm leaning towards Arkham City because it's a fantastic game. But, you know, it's a little outdated, so maybe I'll just get him into Arkham Knight, because that was another problem I was facing. I was like, I don't want to get him a game that's too old, because it probably doesn't play near as well as I remember it to be. But yeah, so anyway, that brought me to the topic that I wanted to discuss today, which is games that defined our childhood. Now, I wanted to talk about this because I have a kind of unique perspective, at least compared to other podcasters, because I am younger. I am 20 years old, and so with that, I, even for people my age, got into like the mainstream gaming way later than most people. So I was raised by a single mom, and so she was never into video games. So we had a Wii that I mostly played like Ben 10 games and Wii Sports and Mario. But I never had Smash. I never had Zelda. Yeah, I had, like I said, I had Mario. I had Wii Sports. I had, like I said, licensed games. But I was never a real gamer until like 2012, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there, where my brother-in-law built me a PC and gave that to me and started getting me into gaming, because I would go over to my neighbor's house and he had an Xbox 360 and we'd play some games there. And then I would see my brother-in-law playing Left 4 Dead 2. I will always remember that, because literally I was like, wow, that's so cool, zombies, all that. But I was also like a complete scaredy cat back then. So he let me play through a level, and it was so frightening. I had nightmares that night of that game. That would have been when I was 10 years old. So yeah, I played a little bit of Left 4 Dead. That was my first mature game ever, Left 4 Dead 2. So I got to shoot and kill things. There was blood and gore. So that was my first foray. And then after that, it was pretty shortly after that he built me a PC, started getting me these games. You didn't really do a whole lot of mature games because, you know, he didn't want to like make my mom mad or anything. And so one of the first games he got me was Batman Arkham City. And my God, I love that game. I really want to replay it. Like, it's been forever. I've played it multiple times already, but it's been a long time since I played that game. And like I could daydream about it all the time. I cannot wait for Rocksteady to release another game. I don't know what they're doing, but I can't wait. Like, they need to get on it. I do want them to take their time, because, you know, take all the time you need. You guys are legends, but also I miss them so much. They're so good at what they do. I mean, Arkham Asylum, fantastic. Arkham City, masterpiece. Arkham Knight, really, really good. People trash that game because of the PC port, but it was a great game. Personally, I mean, I did like the Batmobile stuff. I wish it was a little less incorporated into it, but I did enjoy the Batmobile stuff. I just think it was a little too involved in there. It was just sort of, it was almost kind of like a gimmick. But yeah, I loved all of them. They're all fantastic games, but Arkham City, it's so good. It's so good. It is such a fantastic game. And yeah, that's why I'm like, but I feel like it's too old. So maybe I'll just give him Arkham Knight. I don't know. I really don't. But another game that I was super into, I originally watched a full walkthrough of it on YouTube. Shout out to Tetra Ninja. If you guys haven't subscribed to him already, please do, because he is a fantastic YouTuber and he uploads Let's Play walkthroughs. Hasn't changed. A lot of YouTubers have sort of changed things up as time goes, you know, to go with the new trends, but Nick's never done that. Tetra Ninja has been, you know, the same kind of dude through and through. Occasionally he varies things up a little bit, but, you know, the core of the channel is still there after all these years, after all these years, which I really respect, because it takes a lot to be able to, you know, do that. And you know, it's hard for me. If I were to say, I'd be like, yeah, like gameplay walkthroughs are kind of dead now. But on the other hand, I also kind of have grown out of it. I buy the games that I want to play now instead of doing that. And so when I was at the age where I was watching the walkthroughs, it was because I couldn't afford the games. And so I you know, I liked watching them. And so, you know, it's hard for me to say whether or not it's still a viable thing to do gameplay walkthroughs. I mean, shoot, I hope so. That's kind of what I do. But you know, that's I wish all the best for Tetra Ninja and like other YouTubers like him, because they truly made my childhood. It was Tetra Ninja, the Rad Brad, Ghost Robo, and Game Riot, and Volatile Gabe. They were my homies, man. Like I actually became like semi good friends with Volatile Gabe because he would stream, and I was really active in the stream community, and so I was Panda Master back then too, and so yeah, I'd come on and be like, Panda and all this stuff. I tried to meet him this year when I went to E3. I tried to get a hold of him, but they were very busy because him and Zach were doing stuff with Switch Force, one of their channels dedicated to Nintendo Switch. But that didn't work out. But you know, it's all love to them. I wish Gabe would stream again. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. But Tomb Raider. Did I even say the name of the game? I don't think so. Tomb Raider 2013. I was obsessed with that game. I watched the full walkthrough from Tetra Ninja, and then I eventually got the game myself and played through it again. And I played through it a couple times. It's fantastic. It's such a well-crafted game in terms of it's paced very well. It's challenging, but not torturous. The story's great. The characters are great. The setting's great. The sounds are great. I mean, it's a masterpiece. It really is. And the other games are great. I really like the innovation of Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think that they did a lot of expanding with it. I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider was kind of a little bit lesser so. I mean, you had a big jump from Tomb Raider to Rise of the Tomb Raider, not so much from Rise to Shadow, but there was nothing necessarily bad about it. I just think it could have used a little bit more, but it was a really good game nonetheless, and I am excited for the next Tomb Raider. I think there'll be a next one. They kind of like, they're like, yeah, this is the end of Lara Croft's origin story, but you know, they were very keen not to say that this is the end of Tomb Raider. So I'll gladly take more Tomb Raider games because I love Lara Croft, and kind of wish that Crystal Dynamics got it back because Shadow was not made by Crystal Dynamics. I'm assuming they were focusing on the Avengers, which is one of my most anticipated games of the year, and I'm very excited to play. But I kind of hope, I don't think it'll happen, but I would love to have Crystal Dynamics take in the reins for Tomb Raider 4. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, Tomb Raider is just a phenomenal game. It's not too long, it's not too short. I think it's like that, it reaches that sweet spot where you get in, you get out, and you get that really tight experience, but that's very flushed out, so you don't feel like you're getting gypped. You get your money's worth. And it's kind of okay. So it's kind of the only game that I've 100%ed. I am convinced to this day that my game was glitched because I had spent all this time gathering all the collectibles, and I had it to where I only needed one more. It was in the beginning forest of the game, like the first like open part of the game that you are in. There was just a collectible that wasn't there. Like I looked up a Steam guide, because this is back when it makes me like almost kind of cringe, because it's like the internet, I don't know if it was me not knowing as much about the internet back then, or if the internet really just wasn't that big back then, but I looked at Steam wiki guides. That's what I used. For the most part, I don't even think I used it up until that point. I think I just found them on my own. I don't think I did. But then because I couldn't find this last one, I looked it up, and it's like it just wasn't there. and I think I still say it was my game glitched, and so I will forever be at that 99% completion. It was just a stupid charm that I had to shoot. Like, that's all it was. I collected all the notebooks and all the artifacts and all of that. It was just one stupid little charm thing. But technically, yeah, that's the only game that I've ever 100% completed. I've gotten close with some games. I kind of 100%ed Arkham City. I did everything except the Riddler challenges because those are ridiculous, and it wasn't fun for me to do that. I wasn't gonna do that. But yeah, between Tomb Raider and Arkham City, those are the games that I've 100%ed. Like, I've put the most into, like, post. God of War, like 2018 God of War, I also did a lot of, but eventually because I beat the whole thing in a weekend. I just blasted through it, and then I started doing all the side stuff and started going back and collecting, but I didn't get too deep into it. Eventually I kind of moved on. I'm not 1 to 100% games, just because I think a lot of the, like, grind to do it isn't fun, and so it just kind of takes away from the experience for me. That's why I loved Arkham City so much, is because all of the collectibles besides the Riddler challenges were like engaging side storylines, and so 100%ing that game was super fun. Whereas other games, like even Tomb Raider, it wasn't necessarily fun. I think it's just because the world was so fun to be in, and just exploring the world more and admiring it, I think, is why I didn't mind it. It's just, continuing to live in that world. But Arkham City, the collectibles are fantastic. I mean, just the Arkham games in general. I mean, Arkham Asylum, Knight were the same way. They did really, really well with not having, like, dumb collectibles or anything, but I've never been a fan of the Riddler challenges. They're too difficult, they're too obscure, there's too freaking many of them. But besides the Riddler challenges, and that was one thing that irked me a little bit about Arkham Knight too, is that, they did incorporate a story with the Riddler challenges, like more of a story. And that made me mad because I then wanted to do it even more, but also I'm really bad at the Riddler challenges, so I'm just like, so yeah. But anyway, Tomb Raider, fantastic game. I picked one more game to really focus on. Of course, there are plenty, but I gotta shout out, this is the game that I've played the most on Steam. I have, I think, 123 hours into the game. It'd be really close. Overwatch might be my most played game on the PC. It's somewhere over 100, but it's hard to track because Battle.net doesn't do that. Even though the game does it now, I don't know if it tracks arcade, because if it tracks arcade, that tacks on another like 25 hours. So that's why I'm like not sure. But yeah, The Sims 3. I am obsessed with The Sims. I really want EA to release The Sims 5, because there are really good things about The Sims 4, but there's just, like, for every good thing about The Sims 4, there's a bad thing to make it, just to irk me. Like, the constant loading screens is just terrible. And so I really want The Sims 5. I want a new Sims game. And so also I want to like have a Sim family on YouTube, like I want to do a Sims playthrough on YouTube. And I feel like The Sims 4 is just kind of irrelevant at this point. It's been out for freaking 5 years. What is it, almost 6? Because I think it was in the spring of 2014, wasn't it? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was the fall. But it's been out for at least 5 years. So give us a new game. I mean, it was 2000. Yeah, okay. It was 2009 when The Sims 3 came out. 2014 when The Sims 4 came out. Realistically, we should have gotten Sims 5 last year, but we didn't. And I know they were saying they wanted to continue supporting The Sims 4. They wanted it to, have a longer lifespan. But it's just, the problem is that people didn't like The Sims 4 when it came out. And yeah, they fixed a lot of the issues, but there's still some just core issues with the game that they just need to make a new one. But either way, I still love The Sims 4. I just really want a new one to fix just to fix the loading screens, to be honest. That's really my only complaint. Just fix the stupid loading screens. Don't make me load stuff all the freaking time. Plus, like, just the base, it seems to have like less content in terms of like places. I might be wrong, but the town in The Sims 3 just seemed to be just in the base game, not the expansions, because I never got any of those. There's just too many of them. But it seems to me that the base town in The Sims 3 was a lot bigger and had a lot more stuff to do versus what you can do in The Sims 4. But yeah, The Sims 3 is a perfect game. I spent so many hours in that, usually because I was a prepubescent / pubescent child, usually just trying to have sex with women. So, you know, do that. I remember there was this one time that I married because I was just trying to get some Smash, and so I married this older lady, and then I think it was when she was an adult, but I didn't realize at the time that she was about to turn into an elder. So then she did that, and I'm like, oh. So I moved her in when we got married. So I wasn't the type of person to torture my Sims. I always feel terrible about it because I have such a connection to video game characters that I just can't ethically do it. The only time I ever did that was the first time I played The Walking Dead, which I don't understand how. The first time I ever played Telltale's The Walking Dead, I played it as the bad guy, and not once since have I been able to stomach doing it. Like, I just can't. It just feels so ethically wrong to do it, even though it's not real. I just can't do it, but I somehow did it then. But yeah, I totally killed this lady. I think I starved her to death. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. And so I got the Grim Reaper. I think I might have tried to seduce the Grim Reaper then. I don't know. I was a very hormonal preteen, because that, yeah, it would have been around that time. So yeah, there was lots of flirting and smooching, and yeah, honestly, I think it was even because, like, I was a good Christian boy. It wasn't even about the woohoos. It was about the ooh, kissing, ooh, making out, ooh. That was scandalous for me back then. And so, how far we've come. But yeah, that's essentially what I used The Sims 3 for. That was how I learned the birds and the bees, was The Sims 3. And so yeah, you know, when I meet an attractive girl and invite her back to my home, and we decide we want to woohoo, I ask her if she wants to woohoo. She says yes, and then we jump into the covers and we just do like any other person, and, you know, just start dancing under the bed, you know. Yeah. But I see, like, the mods, like the YouTube videos with the mods and stuff they put into The Sims to put, like, realistic stuff in there. It's insane. People have too much time on their hands. Some things can be done, but just shouldn't. And, you know, just don't mess with The Sims. Just don't do it. Just have a fun time with it. But yeah, The Sims games, all of them are just, they're national treasures. It's just so fun to live a life that's not your own and be able to do that. Like, be able to step outside your world. Like, it's so easy to sink so much time into The Sims. There was one Thanksgiving that I played The Sims for 7 hours straight instead of speaking with my family, and it's because it's just such a good game. And the terrible part was that our computer was/is in the kitchen. So while they were eating, I was still at the computer playing The Sims, literally like inches away from like the closest person, and I was just playing The Sims. I didn't care. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was having fun with my Sims. Yeah, I was also an antisocial preteen, but yeah, I mean, those games, they're good games. Okay, I what can I say? I'm obsessed with Batman, Tomb Raider, and The Sims. I want new installments to all those games. I want Rocksteady to come out with a new game. The Avengers? Ha! And The Sims 5. Just do it already. Just do it. That's what I'm most excited for 2020. The Sims 5 announcement at E3. Please, make it happen. Make The Sims 5 playable at E3. That'd be dope. Did EA even go? Did EA have a booth? I don't even remember. I don't think they did. I don't think EA had a booth. Yeah, they don't, because they have their own EA Play. I forgot about that. Shoot, can I go to that? That's usually a few days beforehand, because the plan this year is to go the Saturday before and then leave the next Saturday. Last year I went Sunday to Saturday. And so usually Microsoft gives their press conferences, or not Microsoft, Microsoft I think usually gives it on Saturdays, but Bethesda usually gives their conferences on Sundays. So I might be able to make the Bethesda conference this. I mean, I could have potentially done it last year, but it would have been rushing, and you never do anything on travel days because you're just so tired. Like you're so tired of the airport and all of that stuff, you just kind of want to do nothing and chill. So I never really plan anything on travel days except just travel and eat and chill, especially if you get into the hotel room, doing all that sort of thing, breaking in the hotel room, watching a movie or something, just kind of being like, hey, we're here, this is cool. But yeah, I forgot about EA Play being a thing, which is ridiculous every time, but there's cool stuff that occasionally happens there. This year was I didn't even watch EA Play this past E3 because it was stupid. It was literally just streams of things that didn't matter. I didn't care about anything, and so I was never that hyped for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Even though I'm a huge fan of Respawn, it just never interested me because it felt like The Force Unleashed, but without the choice. I now regret feeling that way because it's an amazing game, but I think it's just because I want a modern KOTOR. I just want BioWare to make another Star Wars game. That's essentially what I want. I mean, if I'm being honest here, not even BioWare, honestly. Like, who would I want to make a Star Wars game? That's my actual topic for this week's podcast. Who should make a Star Wars game? I mean, like, I would say Telltale, because I want the main thing I want is a choice, but I also want it to be a huge RPG. Personally, I think Ubisoft, like the Assassin's Creed developers, because they just killed it with Odyssey. I think if they were to make a Star Wars game, that'd be dope. Plus, I'm just a sucker for Ubisoft. I know a lot of people hate Ubisoft, but I really like them as a developer. They're like my guilty pleasure. I just enjoy their games. I like them a lot, and so this Assassin's Creed is probably my favorite video game franchise of all time. I love those games. There isn't one that I've ever disliked. Unity is a good game, okay? So y'all can shut up about it. It's a good game. It was just really buggy. I didn't play it until years afterward because of everyone saying it was buggy. And then when I finally played it, I was like, this game is great. I don't know what everyone's talking about. So, but anyway. So yeah, that about wraps up things. Let me know about you guys' games. Like, what games defined you guys' childhood? What did you play as a kid? If you're older than me, younger than me, if you're a kid now, like, what are you playing? What are the games that you love? We all kind of had our different thing. We had the different things. And this kind of gets to my preteens. That's really where I focused on, because that's when I think I really got into gaming. Like I said, I had the Wii when I was really little, and I had the Wii and the Game Boy. Those were my gaming devices. But things are so different now, especially with mobile gaming being a thing. That's sort of how a lot of kids get into video games, is through the phones, and then they'll get onto like a console or something like that. But anyway, gonna wrap things up. Start with the games end off with the games that I've been playing over the past week. Again, not a whole lot because I've been very busy. Last night I recorded Dragon's Dogma, so I played that for another hour. It's really, really fun. It's a little hard to get a grasp of it. It's a very complex game gameplay wise, which the gameplay mechanics are really great. I love the gameplay mechanics. I think it's really good. So I saw someone describe it as a mix between Dark Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, with the whole like climbing, like kind of like a puzzle, like climbing onto the enemies and that, which I totally understand and agree with. It's cool, but it doesn't really hold your hand that much with it, so I'm a little confused. So any Dragon's Dogma fans out there, head over to the Pandamaster Rewind channel, and yeah, just look up Pandamaster Rewind. Send some tips my way. Like, watch the videos, see if there's anything I need to know, because I feel like I could be making things easier for myself, but I just didn't realize I could do it. So yeah, if you got any advice, please let me know. But also, the only other game I've been playing some Gears of War 2. I've only ever played the first Gears and some of the fourth, but I've technically played a very, very tiny bit of Gears 5. I played through the boot camp just so that I could get the Terminator skins and then later the Dave Bautista skin, because I will eventually get to playing Gears 5, and that's why I'm playing Gears of War 2, is because I want to play Gears 5, and so I'm playing through the games now. But I played Gears years ago, and it's a fantastic game. I love the Gears franchise. It's really, really good. And then... did I buy Gears 4? I don't remember if I bought Gears or not, or if it was free with gold. It was before Game Pass existed when I got the game, or at least I didn't have Game Pass back then. I think I bought it, but I played a fairly, like a couple hours of Gears 4, maybe a few more than that. I don't know. But yeah, I want to blow through the games right now, including Judgment. I want to play Judgment because I want all the context I can possibly get before I play Gears 5. And so that's my goal. I've only played it for, I think, like an hour, again, because I've been really busy. But that's my goal tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I'm going to sit down and play a bunch of Gears because that's what I want to do. That's just, yeah. That's what I want to do. I also gave myself this weekend off. Like, tomorrow's my last day, and then I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so everybody wants to hang out, so I'm still kind of busy, but like I'm trying to give myself some free time to play more Gears then too. But yeah. So that about wraps up this week's podcast, and so I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, any feedback that you guys have, please let me know. Go over to my YouTube channel. You can hit me up on my Twitter at Plumley_Landon. If you're confused about the spelling, it'll be on Spotify. You know, YouTube, it's in the description. Maybe I don't remember if I put it in the description of the last one, but I should this time. But anyway, yeah, talk to me on Twitter. I'm on there all the time because I love Twitter. I don't really use other social media all that much. I use a little bit of Snapchat. I occasionally scroll through Instagram. I have a Facebook, but I don't even have the app anymore. I occasionally use Messenger to try to get a hold of people, but yeah, I don't use Facebook. But yeah, Twitter is the main way to go. If you want to contact me, just hit me up on Twitter. Because yeah, I'm pretty much constantly checking that. I have a bunch of notifications on Twitter for a lot of people, and yeah, that's just kind of how I get a lot of news, as unbiased as I can possibly get. I try to take things with a grain of salt, because getting information off of social media is never the best move, but that's why I'm careful. And so yeah, any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Positive or negative, I want it all, because that means that you watched, so I still get paid anyway. No, I don't get paid anything because I'm not popular. I bumped the mic there. But so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next week again. Hopefully this will be a every Thursday thing, but as we get some more episodes in, as I get into a routine with it, you know, I get a little more experience, then it'll be more concrete. But it's looking like Thursdays are going to be the day that we're doing this. And so thank you guys for listening or watching or both. And I will see you guys next week for some more Game Patrol. All right, see ya.